So in my last video, guys, I was revealing what I truly have realized about this reality. And I'll link that video in the description of this video for anyone that would like to see it. You basically come to the realization, this reality is like a dream. It's not a dream, it's like one. If it was really a dream, you could wake up and find yourself in a bigger reality. Something like the Matrix. Apparently the Matrix was real. Neo wakes up, comes out of the Matrix, and he's in the real reality. I haven't seen it for many years. But here's the thing. When he escapes the Matrix, how does he not know that that's still part of the Matrix? That he's still trapped in it? And that's what I was trying to get at in that video. The only thing you know for certain is you know you exist. That feeling of I exist, the only thing you know for certain. And that's why in non-duality, they're saying life isn't a dream, it's like one. Because a dream you can wake up from, and how often and that could go on for infinity. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, bigger reality, bigger reality. Where does it end? But life is like a dream. Like a dream in the sense of, this reality is made of truth. It's just appearing not in accordance with truth. It is one and undivided, yet it appears separated and divided. That's the only thing you need to wake up from. Your true self, your essence, is unchanging, stable. This reality, whatever you're experiencing, is changing and unstable. Your nature is pure consciousness. The nature of consciousness is to dream, is to experience. So any type of knowledge you think you have is just an experience in the dream. You think you're an atheist, an experience in the dream. You think you're spiritual, experience in the dream. You think you're enlightened now, experience in the dream. You're always trapped in the dream because the essence of what you are is made of the dream. So technically you're not trapped. That'd be like saying a whirlpool feeling it's trapped in water. I'm a whirlpool and I'm trapped in water. How do I get out? You're made of the very thing you're trying to get out of. But understanding all that without God in the picture, without serving a higher power, can be very unsettling. It can put you on the brink of mental illness. I'm going to be honest. Over these years, it made me question my own sanity. And thankfully, I came out of it. Because on the path of non-duality, you're all alone. You don't want to believe in a God. You just want to wake up to the truth. And like I said, it can be unsettling because there's a part of this path where you need to go through a detachment phase. Self-inquiry 101, what is it showing us? Anything we experience is not us. Not the world, not the body, not the mind. You realize you're the pure witness of all this. When you're in that phase, you really need to have a firm conviction and tell yourself, anything I'm experiencing, not me, unreal. Unreal in the sense of it's not ultimately real. It's made of reality, truth, but nothing in this reality has a standalone existence. That's why you need to say it's unreal and detach from it. Don't be fooled by illusion. No matter if you love the people, hate the people, like the experiences, don't like the experiences, illusion, detachment. This can lead you down dark places. I hear people talk about this online a lot. Life is unreal. Life is a dream. Discard it. But they say it in a way where it's like people they think are zombies. They get solipsistic tendencies. Solipsism, if you're unfamiliar, is the thought and feeling, I know I'm real as this person. How do I know everyone else is real? They could be zombies, cardboard cutouts. How do I know they're conscious? Solipsism is egoic non-duality. And I'll just quickly show you the difference before I move on to the solution. In a devotional sense, by the way, I'm gonna bring God into this for a very important reason. What is solipsism saying? Just quickly, I know I'm real. I can't question that. But how do I know these other people are real? How do I know they're not figments of my imagination? What's non-duality saying? This reality is a dream made from the source. Picture it like this. My name is Simon. in Australia. Imagine if my true self was called Gary, living in New York. Gary in New York falls asleep, starts dreaming up a world with a Simon character in it. That's me. Hello. My true self is Gary in New York, dreaming up the Simon character and everything Simon's experiencing. Now, this Simon character starts looking around all suspiciously because he gets into philosophy and all, and goes, I know I'm real. How do I know these other people are real? They could be a figment of my imagination. Imagine if Gary could send out a big dream hand, slap Simon on the head and go, Simon, what are you talking about? You think these people are a product of your mind? You and all these people in this reality is a product of my mind. In other words, if Simon, this character, feels it's real as this dream character, that means every other dream character is real. The dream character can't dream up other dream characters in the dream. Simon is equally part of the dream as all these other dream characters. You feel real, they're real. That's the subtle difference between solipsism and non-duality. People can get very solipsistic tendencies and start questioning others, thinking, are they real? Paranoia, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It can be unsettling if you take all this the wrong way. And I want to bring in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 12, verses 1 to 5. Because this is explaining the difference between the path of knowledge and the path of devotion. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is saying, you can reach the ultimate state either way, path of knowledge or devotion. But here, let's just read it and we'll explain it in a minute. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 1. Arjuna inquired, between those who steadfastly devote to your personal form and those who worship the formless Brahman, who do you consider the more perfect yogi? The Lord said, those who fix their minds on me and always engage in my devotion with steadfast faith, I consider them to be the best yogis. But for those who worship the formless aspect of the absolute truth, the imperishable, the indefinable, the unmanifest, the all-pervading, the unthinkable, the unchanging, the eternal, the immovable, by restraining their senses and being even-minded everywhere, such persons engaged in the welfare of all beings also attain me, non-duality. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest, the path of realization is full of tribulations, non-duality, full of tribulations. I'm paranoid. Are they real? What I was saying, worship of the unmanifest is exceedingly difficult for embodied beings. Again, that's what Krishna is saying. There's two ways out of this dream, escaping the dream that you can never ultimately escape. The path of knowledge, where you don't care about all this God talk. You just say, look, I need to realize the fundamental nature of reality through knowledge. Full of tribulations. It would drive me to the brink of insanity when I'm sober. And then sometimes, especially during lockdown, 5 years ago now, there was a lot of drinking happening. And sometimes I would get drunk. There was a lot of drinking and singing karaoke. I would get drunk and then start contemplating non-dual teachings. It would drive me even more, almost on the brink of insanity. Any kind of substance in your body and you start doing self-inquiry, it can almost tip you over the edge. And that was alcohol. Imagine other drugs out there that you could take and contemplate this stuff. Could almost put you in a state of schizophrenia, I felt, honestly. Because when you're in that detached state, it's very unsettling. Your ego is being attacked. It's being told to question everything. It's your ego that's being attacked. It's your ego that's in fear. The solution out of that, which I mentioned in that video, I linked in the bottom, you need to integrate this reality back into yourself. You can't stay in this detached state. The very thing you're trying to detach from is made from the substance you are. That's why, you know what the ultimate answer is? Love. Realize the essence of this reality is one and the same fabric as you. What's your only option? Don't get suspicious. Don't try to avoid. Love. Integrate. And that's where it's leading in this video. And why do I still talk about devotion? In that last video, I said, this reality is like a dream that can't be escaped. You're only ever interacting with the dream. You can't escape the dream. It's the very thing you're made from. So why do I talk about devotion? Here's one thing Swami Vivekananda said to a devotee. He said, if you can't wake up and merge with Brahman, if you can't merge into the infinite, then dream better dreams. What is non-duality attempting for us to do? Merge into Brahman. There is only Brahman, but apparently merge into the infinite. This is very hard. And as Swami Vivekananda said, if you can't do that, dream better dreams. If this reality is a dream you can't ultimately wake up from, what's your only option? The nature of consciousness is to experience. You can't understand reality, you must experience it. So what do you want to experience? A hell or a heaven? If you want to experience a heaven, if you want to dream better dreams, what should you do? This is where devotion comes in. You need a framework to experience this reality. It reminds me of the movie Total Recall, where he goes in and they're offering him options. Do you want to be this? You want to be that? Do you want your wife to be like this? Total Recall, great movie. If you're unfamiliar with that, he goes in and they offer a service where they put you to sleep or they hook you up to something similar to the Matrix, and you're given the option. Do you want this, or what kind of life do you want? We'll wipe all your memories, put in the memories of that person, and it'll be like this life never existed. Like a dream, you're choosing to enter and forgetting it's a dream. Why I'm saying this is, if you can't escape this experience, if you must live through concepts in this dream of life, if you want to make this the best dream possible, love is the only way. You know that cliche, love is the only way, love is the answer? I used to not believe that when I was young. Now I can see why it's true. If you view this reality like a machine, viewing it through the lens of ego, the machine will crush you. Viewing it through the lens of God or your true self, you're figuring out how the machine works to use the machine against itself, or work the machine to come out of the dream. If you get what I'm saying there, use what this reality is trying to do against itself. What does this reality want us to do? See it through lens of ego. Get attached to it. React to it. Get angry. All egoic tendencies keeps the machine going. Keeps you trapped in it. How do you reverse all this? How do you escape the machine? You learn what it is trying to do to you. Study the trap, and then you're free from the trap. It's trying to get you absorbed in the world. React, attachment, desire, anger. What's the opposite then? Love. Do the opposite. Surrender. Surrender your apparent free will. Humble the ego. Love, love, love. You're using the machine against itself. And the best way to do this? God. The God concept. This is what I tell myself day in and day out. When I start my prayer/meditation, I start off with a long prayer. And you know what? I'm a middle-aged man. I can admit this now. Many times this brings me to tears. I have so much devotion for God, I have tears. Through gratitude, through love, through blessings for myself and my loved ones that I've experienced, so much humility, I love it. It brings so much love and pours it out. And like I said, it brings me to tears. How embarrassing. If I was in my 20s, you wouldn't be hearing me saying this. But that's where it's at, guys, love. So I start my meditation, my prayer/meditation with gratitude for all the blessings, all the hard times I say, I know you're just doing this to bring me closer to you, God. Humility, gratitude, acceptance, all that kind of stuff. It really pulls on the heart. You want to feel oneness, you need to feel love. You can't say this reality is one and have hate in your heart. You're being a hypocrite. And even if you're not being a hypocrite, who cares? Don't you want to feel oneness? It's better to feel oneness than to see it. I've seen it for the longest time. It's so clear to me. I didn't feel it. But devotion was the key. And what you realize is, you don't need all this non-dual path. All you need is love. But the only problem with that is you need faith. Initially, you need faith in a God. That's the problem. Most people think, I don't have faith. I can't believe this. Unfortunately, yes, that's true. But once you start having faith, you start intuiting God's presence, you realize it was so obvious. And what is the view of God in Hinduism? The first Mahavakya of Hinduism, Pragyama Brahma. Brahman is consciousness. God is consciousness. God is an impersonal, personal reality. God has non-objective qualities in Hinduism, non-objective, which paradoxically gives rise to objective qualities that you can worship in the form of Krishna or Jesus. It's funny, I still listen to podcasts on Christians. And it's funny, when I hear Christians talk about how Jesus has changed their life, how they're saying Jesus has brought this into my life, Jesus has done that. When I'm listening to these Christians saying the transformation Jesus gives your life, Jesus. In my head, I'm just replacing it with Krishna, because I devote to Krishna. Because what Hinduism is saying is God is God. God is all there is. You don't need to get caught up in the name. That's the problem. People go, the only way is through Christ. Many Christians have told me that. They've told me so many great things about Christianity. They're non-denominational. They're all this, all that. And I'm like, that sounds great. Then they say, but the only way is through Christ. And I'm like, ugh. Because think of God like a parent. Just say God was a father, as they view it in Christianity. If you're a baby and you're crying out, Papa, Papa, the dad's going to run, scoop you up, see what's wrong, take care of you. If you cry out, Dada, Dada, it's not Papa, Dada, you're using a different word. Is the dad going to go, my name is Papa, not Dada, so I'm going to let you sit there and suffer. No, the dad will scoop you up. No matter, even if you don't cry out Papa or Dada, just a cry, the dad will come and pick you up, or the mum. You can worship, in Hinduism, you can worship God in the form of a woman, a man, anything. And that's exactly the reason. Because they're saying this reality is impersonally personable. That's why there's so many apparent gods in Hinduism. It is the one appearing in infinite forms. However you want to worship this one, up to you. You want to call it Jesus, all good. You want to call it Allah, you want to call it Krishna, Shiva, it doesn't matter. All that matters is heart. You can't get to God through logic. You got to get to God through heart. As long as you have a deep longing, a deep love of God in whatever form you choose, God's going to run and rescue you. They're not caught up in all the details. We are like a kid or a teenager that are very stubborn, especially when I remember being a teenager like that. I know better, mum or dad. Usually it was my mum, actually. I know better. I'm leaving home. Around 18. Or I told her, look, I want to live my own life. I don't need you. Had a lot of attitude, to be honest. But what I'm saying is parents, loving parents will say, look, I'm giving you some guidelines. What you're doing is probably going to end in misery. But go. I love you, just go then. But if ever you need to call on me, call. I'll come back. That's what God's saying. God doesn't care how you call on God's name, whether you think God is a female or a male. That's how loving God is. Do it your way. Whenever you sincerely call for me, I'm there. That's all they're saying. So how do you escape this trap of life? Love. And devotion is the best way. And for the right person, it's very natural. You won't go through all this detachment, suspicion, solipsism. You get to keep your identity. You don't even have to question, who is the one doing this? Who is the one doing that? I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. No, in devotion, you are the body and mind. And use this body and mind to devote. Surrender your will. Act out of service. You're not cleaning the house for you and your family. You're cleaning it for God. You're not shopping for your family. Shopping for God. Working for God. You're a humble servant working for God out of love. What all this does, surrendering your will, service, humility, devotion, weakens the ego. Sri Ramakrishna said, the ego can't be gotten rid of and doesn't need to be. All that happens is you go from an unripe ego to a ripe ego. What is a ripe ego in the non-dual sense? Developing two eyes. You keep this egoic self that you always thought you were, but then you realize your true I, your true self is that, the pure witness. That is witnessing this body and mind, developing two eyes. You're the witness of this body. You're not ultimately this. What is the ripe ego in a devotional sense? Going from thinking, I'm this person, it's my control, my will, my way, to oh, actually, it's God's will, God's way, God's will. A ripe ego. And most people, this comes natural to. You get to keep your identity. You're the person. Do this, you're going to go to a heaven. You're going to experience a heaven on earth. Devotion is where it's at. That's why I do both. I started with non-dual knowledge. That actually gave me the reason why to devote. I used to think, I get it, it's God's world or whatever when I was young, but I didn't feel love for this reality. I thought, yeah, I've got to try to love, but how can I love these annoying, wicked people? Why do they deserve love? Now I understand why. Because it's the one fabric appearing separate. This is another version of me, or you can say this is another version of God appearing in this form. So show this form of me or God love. From the root of love. Stop them when they're doing the wrong thing. Give them advice if they ask. It all clicked for me, non-duality just all clicked for me why I should love. That's all I'm saying. So in summary, this reality is a dream you can't wake up from. If you could wake up from it literally, then you could say, how do I know this isn't a bigger dream? A bigger dream, a bigger dream. The nature of consciousness or God is to experience. So what are you left with? If you can't escape the dream, as you're trying to do, as I tried to do, you can only work with the dream. Make it a better dream, a devotional dream, and you're going to have so many blessings. You're going to feel so much love poured out into this reality, and that's what you're truly seeking. You want love and acceptance. That's what you really want with all these endeavors in the world. Love, acceptance, understanding. You know why? Because that's what you are. That's what this reality is. So pour it out to this reality, operating from the root of love. You'll get it back and you'll be like, why didn't I do this earlier? My only regret, which I can't regret, and I ultimately don't regret, is I didn't know this. I didn't know all this knowledge and have all these feelings in my 20s. But again, you have to go through a lot of crap to get to this realization. That's the beautiful plan of God. He's got all of us covered. So I'll end it there, guys. Hope it helps. See ya.